I finally got the microscope out of storage today. I've wanted to get it out for a while particularly because I want to look at the soil and compost under the microscope to see all the little life forms in there, like the nematodes and amoebas and bacterias and fungal hyphae, and so I can see and compare different soils and compost to see what kind of life is in there, how much life is in there, and how healthy is it. Well, let's get a little sample of this soil right here. This is some soil that I found that somebody put a bunch of charcoal in. So it's like there's all this biochar, which is really good for the microbial life and the water retention in the soil. So this should be some really healthy soil. Let's just get a little bit, put it in this little cup, which I washed with soap and water. Just get a little bit of water in there. I'm just gonna mix it up a little bit. Make a nice slurry. It's proper to use distilled water actually, but I didn't have that. And then I'm just gonna put a little drop on my slide here. There we go. And then put the cover slip on there. Put it in the microscope and see what we got. And it's starting on this one, which is low magnification, and then I'll move on to the 40x, which is actually a total of 400 times. Here's what it looks like on the low magnification. Here's what that looks like at 400 times magnification. I can see some little things moving around in there. Right at the tip of the arrow there, maybe you can see that little thing moving around. Wow, there's some big round thing in there. And then I looked at a bunch of other stuff, like these are spores of the puffball mushroom. And there's some really tiny things moving around the bigger things with the tails. I wonder if the really tiny ones are the male sperm and the bigger ones are the spores. Here's a look at what we have in the compost. There's all sorts of different things in here. I don't know what all the little tiny things moving around are, but I'm gonna find out. Big round things with nuclei, spiky things, little tiny pink things, probably bacteria. Here's a look at a root of a grass with little root hairs coming off. And all along the root hairs there's these tiny things, tiny pink things. This is some mycelium from the oyster mushrooms I'm growing, and all the little fibrous things are the hyphae, which are like the fungus roots. And the other thing I really wanted to look at was the root nodules of a nitrogen fixing plant, which are really important kinds of plants because they have a partnership with the bacteria that takes nitrogen out of the air and puts it in the soil in a way that's usable for all the plants. And so here's a look at that under the microscope, 400 times magnification again, and this is a root nodule from a burr clover. And I could see the cells of the roots, and then there's some little pink things everywhere, and in some places there are these little clumps of little round brown things. I don't know what that all is, but I'm gonna find out.